Greetings yet again, acolytes of the Force. There are still more secrets to be uncovered here in the archives. In the Revenge of the Sith, we got to see the first and only grand battle between the Dark Lord Sidious and the Jedi Grandmaster Yoda, each representatives of their respective allegiances in the Force, and the battle between them was not simply two individuals fighting with lightsabers and Force techniques, but rather the embodiment of the light side and the dark side battling for the soul of the entire Republic. Nay, the galaxy. This fight is the grand culmination of 7,000 years of conflict between the Jedi and Sith. Sidious himself was well aware of this, and had been preparing for this day for decades. He was actually pleased that Yoda had survived Order 66, just so that he could kill the Jedi Grandmaster personally. However, despite Sidious absolutely hating every member of the Jedi Order, he ironically did not hate Yoda. In fact, we can draw the conclusion that Sidious may have actually respected the old master, and he even left the duel with Yoda in the Senate debate hall with a level of admiration towards the small, green creature. So why is this? Why would someone so hateful and spiteful towards the Jedi as Sidious actually come to respect their leader? Well, it's time to open up yet another holocron and discover the secret for ourselves. Before we dive into the idea, we'd like to thank the sponsor for today's video, Own a Saber. Have you ever wanted to own your own high-quality lightsaber hilt that can rival even the best Jedi Knights or Sith in the galaxy? Well, now you can. Own a Saber manufactures both replica and original lightsaber hilts, and right now they're running a limited time 40% off sale. If you order before June 30th, you can receive not only free shipping, but an additional $15 off with our specialized code, Stupendous. Thank you again to Own a Saber, and let's get back into the holocron. To analyze why Darth Sidious didn't actually hate Yoda all that much, we need to establish something and be very clear. Sidious regarded Yoda as an enemy and a hurdle towards his ultimate success. He also believed that Yoda shared in the sins of the entire Jedi Order and was blind to his arrogance. Yoda himself would later admit to the latter and would agree with Sidious, ultimately stating what the Sith Lord believed to be true. Yoda had grown arrogant and had allowed the Jedi Order to do so as well, even going as far as to say that it may have been a good thing that the Jedi were destroyed, as they needed a hard reboot. It was the will of the Force. For the first time in galactic history, it was the Sith whom the Force ultimately decided to use as a catalyst towards balance, and ironically enough, Sidious played into its hands with his own beliefs. Sidious had very little respect for the light side of the Force in any way at all. He believed that it was just a simple, irrefutable truth of existence that the dark side was far stronger. And with the experience he had, who could blame him? He learned from an early age that if one is stronger, richer, more powerful, or cunning than anybody else, then they'd be able to get anything that they wanted, and could destroy anybody that stood in their way. The strong were meant to rule, the weak were meant to serve. Sheev was taught this by example whenever he would get into trouble with his father Kasinga, who would just bail him out of any sort of wrongdoings he committed, doing so by bribing people and paying off those that were wronged to look the other way. Sheev was never punished and therefore never learned consequences. He only learned how to better manipulate the people around him. Because of this, he became very attractive to the dark side because he had a desire to rule and make things in his way. It was the dark side who answered his need for the love of a father, and it was the dark side who gave him revenge on his family who rejected him. And it was because of Plagueis and the dark side that killing his entire family would also come with no consequence. Sidious despised the Jedi and held no respect for them because they embodied everything that he did not understand. They had power, more power than anyone, and yet they defended the weak rather than ruling over them. With the power of a Jedi, one could become like a god, but the Jedi fought to defend and to preserve rather than seek to dominate. Palpatine not only did not understand this, but couldn't. It was a waste. What was even worse was the Jedi did this thinking no one could ever challenge them, believing that they were indomitable, forever serving the weak, while acting as though they would never themselves need protection from a stronger, more intelligent, developed threat. It made Sidious angry in ways he could not describe. Once he discovered and became powerful in the ways of the darkness, he realized a power that could forever put the Jedi in their place, getting revenge for the Sith that had humiliated the Jedi throughout the centuries, believing that the Jedi were lucky that the Sith were no more, or so they thought. And at the top of this deceitful, disgusting order was Yoda, the direct counterpart to Darth Sidious. Yoda was the one calling the shots and allowing this all to persist along with the other members of the council. To Sidious, Yoda was blind and foolish, and yet, as much as he wanted to, he couldn't hate the little green monster, especially not after he sensed his power firsthand. As inferior to the dark as the light was, in Sidious's opinion, he couldn't help but admire how much power Yoda had accumulated. No doubt that Sidious had already heard all the stories from Dooku himself, who is on record as saying that the Jedi Order's main problem was Yoda. In Dooku's own words, he says that no one who holds that much power for as long as Yoda can avoid becoming corrupted by it. Here's the thing that many should and need to understand about Sidious. He respects power wherever power is found, whether through the Force or through powerful machinery. Though he obviously thought the power of the Force was stronger, he admired the destructive capability of the Death Star and even loved his creation. And even though he knew the Sith were superior, he still feared the unknown power of Mother Talzin that she held at her fingertips. In this same way, Yoda was a being that Sidious respected for being able to grow as strong as he had through the use of an inferior side of the Force. The climactic duel in Revenge of the Sith was quite enlightening for the new Emperor. For the first time, he felt the power of Yoda's reputation insisted upon him. In the beginning, he had warned Vader that he felt a certain danger in the Force, and at that moment, they ceased communication. There, Sidious saw Yoda and immediately believed that the danger he sensed was the Grand Master. We covered this in another holocron, how Yoda tricked Palpatine so that the Dark Lord wouldn't sense Obi-Wan's arrival on Mustafar, which was the true source of Vader's danger. This, though, is still all a testament to Yoda's power, as this could have been the perceived disturbance. But the fear and respect would not end here. After imparting Yoda upon a massive blast of Force lightning, the Grand Master stands up, hardly dazed. But following this, the Grand Master imparts upon Sidious a massive Force push. Something on the side here is Darth Sidious doesn't get the Force used on him by anyone, as he is always the strongest in every room. In fact, when Darth Vader uses the Force on Sidious just after his cybernetic reconstruction, it infuriates the Dark Lord. It is something that he will not tolerate. The amount of fear that he must have felt in that moment had to have been palpable, as for the details of Legends continuity suggests. No one had touched Palpatine with the Force since his master, Plagueis. He's instantly aware of the threat, and even tries to lure Yoda away into a narrow hallway where Ataru would be less effective. Yoda, though, cuts him off, issuing a firm challenge. To go even further in the Senate chamber, as the two of them are dueling, Sidious becomes massively frustrated, having to put his lightsaber away and switching to his Force abilities where he is the superior, realizing that Yoda is better with the lightsaber than the Dark Lord. And then, the two of them meet on the Senate pod, Darth Sidious unleashing all of his hate through Force lightning. And again, to his shock, Yoda utilizes Terminus to absorb it. No one had ever done this, not even Mace Windu using Vapad. But Yoda is using his own two hands, an expert at Terminus. It is in this moment Sidious realizes all of the rumors of Yoda's powers are true, but even the rumors do not do him justice. Of course, Sidious found that he was stronger than the two of them, but he actually found it to be a pity that Yoda was not a dark side wielder. Then again, Yoda as a Sith would be too powerful and would become a rival, so perhaps this was for the best. But Sidious couldn't help but know that although Yoda was a Jedi, he was the one who came closest to understanding true power, and because of that, Sidious did not hate him and often thought about Yoda during his reign as Emperor. Every now and then, he would dispatch some probe droids or a search team to try and find the old master, but never committed truly to the search, not even bothering to send Vader. But that didn't stop Sidious from relishing the satisfaction he got from knowing that Yoda was out there somewhere, watching the galaxy he loved be warped and ruled by a Sith. But anyway, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video and got some insight into Sidious's psyche and how he views the power of the Jedi, and specifically Grandmaster Yoda. We would love to hear your thoughts and analysis on this strange relationship. And as always, my friends, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.